cannot benefit everybody, and they cannot benefit the self, because there will always be problems. This is why politicians will never be the idea. It doesn't matter what kind of politician you have. They're always going to be the feeling that, well, if I give my power to this person, they'll take care of me. And that is primarily what we have been bred to believe through the moment that we came into this world, the feeling that we need to be taken care of.
And we see that a lot these days. For example, in the United States, they have gone from we the people to I the person, and they're all a bunch, they sit back and complain a lot. But when it comes to making the difference, they leave it up to other people.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's where there's just so much of a lag behind a lot of these things that represent quote-unquote progress.
Right.
It's more so on the idea that what can we say that's really, really fancy that will get people to still hold on to our power, and being able to give that to us. And that's been the whole idea of the constant hamster in a wheel effect here.
Yeah.
Is that when we want to really see that action, we have to be the causal effect. We need to be the ones that become the action and the result into everything that we want to heal within our lives.
One of my most favorite lines from the great and departed Robin Williams was, "Yep, the hamster's dead, but the wheel's still going round."
Exactly.
So tell me, Brad, what started you on your spiritual journey?
Yeah, this really just unfolded into something that I never expected myself to really go into. If you were really to look, because I have been doing this for about 6 years, and if you were to ask me 6.5 years ago if I was going to be doing something like this, I would say, no way, that's just not possible. I never, imagined that I would be doing something like this. But it really just led from one thing to another. I was just starting out very curious about meditation. I was very curious about looking more into the ability of channeling to connect to these connections, these extensions of your consciousness. And it just really started to blossom into every other particular factor that spirituality and truth and consciousness collide together with. And so it just has been kind of this filling cup of knowledge that just keeps rising and keep rising. And I'm just taking that cup and I'm continuing to drink all that liquid down so that the cup itself remains as empty as possible. So it really has just been a lot of shifts, a lot of transformations, and a lot of realizations that have come together and saying that this is what I've been meant to do since day one. And I just really had to understand that I needed to shed away a lot of layers myself, because I had a lot of belief systems and feeling that, maybe I was meant to do something else. Maybe I was meant to do marketing, or maybe I was meant to do filmmaking or writing. And I still do those to certain forms of extensions, but now they're more so in complement to what I truly feel I am right now. And that's just helping in regards to spiritual facilitation and being this catalyst for, being able to communicate with the matrix. And it really is just such a vast and beautiful and wonderful field, because there's always going to be something that you're learning every single moment. It's just you look at the people in your life, you look at the situations that you start to work with, that you're a part of, and everything just really shifts your perspective into something that's just so marvelous. It's just perplexing to me at times about where I'm able to go. Because a lot of the communication that I'm doing right now isn't even really from the personality. It's more so what's known as intuitive conversation. It's basically where you're letting the words itself become the conversation. And everybody really has the ability to do this, but because we've been so trained within the programming that is contained within our physicalized ego, we feel that we have to indoctrinate or edit or modify ourselves just to make sure that we can sound that we are appropriate, that something that we say is very, very in relationship, in rapport with each other. But when you really start just to let go of the feeling of the personality and you allow intuition to come together, intuition now becomes your voice. It now becomes your posture. It now becomes your whole epicenter relating to the understanding of reality. So all the words that I'm fundamentally speaking right now are basically just coming to the flow of intuition and letting the words become themselves. And as these words become spoken, people who are in alignment in some form to what we're talking about here will really click into that and say, oh my goodness, there's a realization that's happening here. Maybe I can look more into this with myself. And that's the whole point, is that I never have any really conscious control, so to speak, about what is being taken place. It's just the words becoming themselves altogether through intuition.
It seems as if, Brad, there's a little switch that's being turned on in people, and they're seeking the answers to questions that maybe 2 years ago, 1 year ago, 3 months ago, or yesterday, they really had no desire to find the answer for. But now something is happening, and let's talk more about this on the other side of this news break. Exonation, my guest this hour is Brad Johnson. His website is www.consciousmatrix.com. That's www.consciousmatrix.com. Brad and I will be back on the other side of this news break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to send us an email, tell us if there's a special guest you'd like us to get on, if there's a special topic you'd like us to discuss, or maybe you'd just like to get something off your chest, or maybe you just need somebody to share an experience with. We're always here, X Zone Nation. The website is xzone at xzoneradiotv.com. That's xzone at xzoneradiotv.com. Or you can give us a call at 1-800-610-7035. My name's Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone. We'll be back on the other side of this break with the news. Don't go away.
The following program may contain coarse language, violence, nudity, mature subject matter, or scenes which may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Brad Johnson is our guest, X Zone Nation. www.consciousmatrix.com. Brad, before we went to the commercial break, I started talking about it seems as if a little switch is being flicked on in people, and this seems to be more and more prevalent after December 2012. What's the connection?
Yes, I mean, a lot of people have been talking about this just for the longest time. Even before I was getting into a lot of the spiritual consciousness, there was always a lot of information relating to December 2012. And there has definitely been a switch. There's definitely been a shift that has taken place. And really that our entire world, our entire star system, our galaxy, works together in forms of cycles, and that basically December of 2012 represented one of these cycles of shifting, and it really represented what was known as a kind of like a time lock that has expired, and that everything prior to December 21st, 2012, in regards to the culmination of the collective consciousness relating to the energies of how we understand each other, relating to our own personal growth and everything else within the planet, has basically hit that time lock. As that time lock has now reached its point, its apex, as it were, now we're shooting off into the high momentum of everything of what that energy was at that point on December 21st, 2012, and now we're living it out. So there's very large acceleration. So this is why a lot of people, and especially with a lot of people that I've been working with, from clients and just people I've been talking to, have been noticing these shifts. And it's really quite fascinating because I've worked with thousands of people all over the world these past 6 years, and they're all saying, oh my goodness, I'm feeling this new sensation within myself. I'm feeling that the world is so different. I'm seeing all of these beautiful visions. I'm getting the ability of intuition coming together. I feel a lot of psychic upliftment. I've had extraterrestrial encounters. You know, I've heard a lot, and it really is just amazing about being able to see this switch. So basically, we have reached an energetic time within our civilization's modern age where we're actually now starting to accelerate in this whole new consciousness. It's basically a harmonic convergence that has taken place. And this harmonic convergence is basically bringing us into a whole new adaptability about us becoming a very, I guess you could say, slow but steady new human race. And you can basically see this with a lot of the new children that are coming together. Some of them are just so amazingly brilliant.
The indigo children.
Exactly, yeah.
Brad, why is it that so many people expected doom and gloom on December the 21st, 2012?
Well, that's the basis of how fear is bred into our society. The first thing that many of us has to think, oh my goodness, are we going to be okay? Are we going to survive? What's happening? Is this world going to blow up? It all represents the idea of a culmination to those that still feel personal insecurity within themselves. And then they gravitate to those other energies that feel that inadequacy, that insecurity within themselves, and feel that, oh my goodness, December 21st, 2012 comes, or where it's the end of civilization. We become so addicted to the idea of fear that fear itself is attempting to bring more of a prominence into society in regards to that which is its opposite, love. But the whole idea really is that fear, if you're looking at it in its totality, really is only about 4 to 5% in regards to what we're actually experiencing on Earth. When we're actually looking at that 95 to 96%, there are a lot of people that when you see yourself, falling on the ground and tripping, you'll have a dozen people at least that want to help you back up. When you feel that a person is basically having some type of injury or they're, not feeling well, you have all these people around asking you, are you all right? Are you okay? So we're basically looking at the idea that a lot of the love contained within our planet is very, very vast, but we tend to shield it and cover it up with the idea of a lot of the fear, because we've been bred into fear, the feeling that, again, we're limited and that we're conditional and we have to depend upon the system, and if we don't, here's the consequence. And so it really has been the idea of a programming that has attempted to broadcast consequence in regards to any action. We must suffer first before we can succeed. And that's always been the feeling, that if something new is happening, okay, well, we're going to go through some immense suffering first before we're able to succeed. But then it transforms into that idea of doom and gloom. So people that are really bred into that fear, because that's what they've lived their whole life, is the idea of fear, consequence. I don't deserve to have this. I don't deserve to be this kind of enlightened, illuminated individual. I need to go through the trenches first. And so the trenches are basically giving the manifestation of the feeling of fear vibration.
For example, no pain, no gain.
That's right.
Yeah. Can you just
imagine?
imagine?
It's not to say that you cannot have pain in that sense to learn, because
Sure.
That's the whole point. You really look into yourself. You move into the darkness first before you can come into the light. But the whole idea is a lot of people feel that it's hopeless, that you're basically stuck in the darkness and that's all there is to life, and that there is no light at the end of the tunnel. All there is just being stuck in this cave.
Can you just imagine if, instead of the negative programming that we're all subjected to, if it would have been positive programming?
Exactly, and that's precisely what we're moving into right now, is a lot of people who are said, you know what, I'm just not going to be doing this negative programming anymore. I'm going to look into myself. I'm going to look into my reflections. I'm going to look into my looks, my needs, my desires, my ambitions, and I'm going to really utilize those as a realization catalyst to help me transform into something very positive. And now, surprisingly, that's where we're going. There's a lot of people right now who I've been talking to who have just been made such amazing strides into a lot more of a positive-based lifestyle. They're becoming much more financially abundant, going into new industries they never thought that they would be going into, developing new grassroots concepts, new organizations, new free flows of energy that are just, catapulting them into new relationships, into new career, into new finances, and everything is starting to take place in that way. And it is, in that sense, like a 100th monkey effect. And so the 100th monkey is now starting to happen. And now that's just slowly starting to process. But because we do exist within linear time reality, it's about being able to see the transition of this take effect.
Brad, tell me about your guide, Adronis.
Yes, basically, again, I was able to communicate with him back in December of 2008. And one of my friends, who was also a channeler, was telling me about the energies known as Sirius, again, the star of Sirius A, the dog star, so to speak. And he just said, you know what, Brad, just being able to sense your energies right now, I feel that you have a very, very strong energetic connection to this star. And what you should do is just go into meditation and connect with the energy of that star, because I feel that there's a being, that there's an entity there who wants to talk to you. And I decided that, yes, okay, I will do this. And so I went into a meditation state. I did what's known as the automatic writing process. And just being able to connect without really any particular type of, I guess you could say, miraculous aspect coming together, I was able to receive a transmission that just came through the pen in my hand, and being able to write all these words as the words became themselves. So just like I'm doing intuitive conversation, the conversation through the pen came together, and this was the entity known as Adronis. And basically he introduced himself to me as what is known as a future version of myself, 297 years in the future, and that he has come back at this time to assist in bringing forward more of my spiritual evolution, and that much of our unique contract involves that as I start to learn more about my spiritual evolution, others will be able